Well, the expletive tirade I'm going to drop off is going to be pretty epic here in a couple minutes. So, all right. So, welcome to episode 239 of Randsanity on 12626. 0 degrees outside tonight in good old Columbus, Ohio. I changed the topic tonight for like 5 minutes early to interview and chat, and nobody came on. I'm like, well, fuck, man, nobody gives a shit about it. So I went back to music. Even if people come here thinking it's music where it's live music and it's not, at least somebody will show up. Otherwise, it's like nobody's showing up because it's like interview and chat. And people are like, I don't really care. You know, I could lie and make it something that it's not, but at least I talk about music. So there's music involved, music history involved, better than not music history. So I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, today we'll talk a little bit about, we got a concert tour announcement. Talk a little about Green Day, since they're back in the news, since they're going to be opening up the Super Bowl festivities here in a couple of weeks. And then some music history, some births and deaths, and, stop along the way and talk to anybody who so pops in and has questions, comments, or concerns about anything whatsoever. We'll start it off with a little Green Day action. In September of 2012, Green Day's appearance at the iHeart Festival, which, again, if you know me, you know I am not a fan of iHeart, so I will not speak ill of them other than I am not a fan. Anyway, this appearance became one of the most infamous appearances after Woodstock of 1994 for Green Day. Occurring just before the release of their album Trilogy, Uno Dos Tres, frontman Billy Joe Armstrong unleashed an expletive-laden rant near the conclusion of their performance. So, on January the 16th, 2026, Green Day returned to the festival. Though they'd been in the lineup several times before 2012, Armstrong decided to poke fun at himself a little bit for this time at the end of their 2026 performance. He made a cheeky reference to his antics from 14 years ago. While playing their usual concert closer, Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, Armstrong started a countdown as if the band were about to get booted from the stage. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Good night, he said with a mischievous grin. For anyone not in the know, the self-deprecating joke was likely a reference to Armstrong's 1 minute left explosion when, through an alcohol and drug-fueled haze, he thought Green Day's short set was being cut short. Now remember, I always say, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. So, the story of Billy Joe Armstrong's 2012 iHeartRadio Festival meltdown takes place during a time of heavy drinking and drug use for the Green Day frontman. So, Billy Joel admitted himself that besides his ranting and raving, his performance was noticeably sloppy and slurred. It happens. But it all came to a head when he allegedly misinterpreted a blinking reminder light as a cue the band was being cut off. In reality, the light was there as a time limit indicator, and the set was coming to a close anyway. But for Armstrong, this is the last straw. And me forgetting the timer, also the last straw. That's what I get for not paying attention, see? So there you go. That's the last straw. Not paying attention. Anyway. So, Armstrong broke the bridge of basket case to yell. Okay, here it comes. Here comes the tirade. Give me a fucking break. 1 minute left. 1 fucking minute left. You gotta give me fucking 1 minute. There, look at that fucking sign right there. 1 minute. He continued, let me fucking tell you something. Let me tell you something. I've been around since fucking 1988, and you're going to give me 1 fucking minute? You got to be fucking kidding me. Several you're fucking kidding me's is what the fuck is ensued, with Armstrong also calling out Justin Bieber for some reason. He then called the festival a fucking joke before revving it up to the big finale. I got 1 minute left. Oh, now I got nothing left. Now I got nothing left. He said, let me show you what the fucking minute is. That's fucking minute means. 1 minute. God fucking love you all. We'll be back. Billy then smashed the guitar, and Green Day bassist Mike didn't smash his guitar in solidarity, or perhaps to make Armstrong look less like a tool. We're still not sure about that one. Jury's still out. All in all, the F word and its many conjunctives appeared 77 times in Armstrong's rant. Following the explosive performance, Green Day representative put out a statement. Green Day would like everyone to know that their set was not cut short by Clear Channel and to apologize to those that they offended at the iHeartRadio Festival in Las Vegas, it read. I love publicists, just so you know. 2 days later, Armstrong checked into rehab. Another statement from the band noted, in part, that Billy Joe is seeking treatment for substance abuse. Uno was released the following month, but in the aftermath of Armstrong's rehab, Green Day put touring and promotion on hold. In 2016, Armstrong reflected on the incident and his subsequent rehab. The thing about someone who's losing their mind is that you don't know they're losing their mind, he told Q magazine at the time. I thought my life was completely normal, and it wasn't. I was on drugs, and people aren't acting rationally when they're on drugs. Like I say, don't do drugs, kids, don't do drugs. So I had to take care of myself. I had to kick that, and I did. Then we took a long break, which was totally necessary. I love that they fucked up a Clear Channel event. iHeart, Clear Channel, whatever. Smashing had to be cathartic, but damn, that's expensive. It's true. It's true. Well, you know, look, I think if you go on a expletive laden tirade, it depends on where you are and what situation and setting it is. Because the truth of the matter is that, yes, it can sound very authoritative. It can sound very cathartic, but you definitely can come along, as you just said, sort of sounding like a port dock worker. Family Values Tour, for sure. For sure. So, yes, I try and keep my ranting expletives to a minimum. If I can. But I usually take things fairly well in stride at this point. And I don't usually let things get to the point where I will become that engrossed in any situation that I'll have to have a 77 fuck tirade over anything. Brilliant. Just brilliant. Thank you, Billy Joe Armstrong. Very nice guy. They should bring that back. I miss mutual dumb genre names, but I love it. Yes. Yes, that's new metal for sure. Well, the other day I did find a new genre. It was krautrock, which I had never heard of. I guess it was German, like German rock, German metal, krautrock. And I was like, wait, krautrock? I was like, I have to find some krautrock and listen to it, just because. I was like, that's definitely that sounds like it's a thing. Like everyone should listen to some krautrock in their life. Yes, I don't know. German polka? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what krautrock is. I just saw it, mentioned it, but I didn't actually seek it out. But I do want to know what krautrock it is. I don't think is it like Rammstein, where it's like screaming metal? I don't know. I'm not sure. Ska, yes. That's kind of UB40-ish, but I don't know. Bowling for Soup? Krautrock. So, all right. So a little Billy Joe Armstrong tirade there. All right, a little bit of history on this day then. In 1956, we'll go way back. 56, 70 years ago. 1956, 70 years ago, Buddy Holly recorded what would become his final release, or his first release. Love Me and Blue Days, Black Nights. Both tracks were later featured on That'll Be the Day, the third album from Holly after Decca. Holly's first major record label packaged these 1956 tunes after he had some success with recording from the Brunswick and Carl labels. So 70 years ago. In 1961, our friend Elvis the Pelvis Presley was number one on the UK singles chart with Are You Lonesome Tonight? The singer's sixth UK number one. The song, which was written by Roy Turk and Lou Handman, no, why not Handyman, Handman, in 1926, first became a hit in 1950 when the Blue Baron Orchestra version reached the top 20 on Billboard's pop chart. Elvis recorded this song at the suggestion of his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, as it was Parker's wife, Maria Mott's favorite song. Colonel Tom Parker. He was quite a piece of shit. The Beatles. I'm going to just skip the Beatles tonight. I don't care about the Beatles tonight. 1965, during a Rolling Stones tour in Australia and New Zealand, guitarist Keith Richards had his shirt torn off by 50 screaming fans that invaded the stage during a gig at the Town Hall in Brisbane. Interesting. Keith Richards getting mobbed by screaming fans that invaded the stage and tore his shirt off. I'm sure Keith hated that. Pink Floyd played their very first gig without Syd Barrett at Southampton University. They were supported by Tyrannosaurus Rex, later to be named T-Rex, featuring Mark Bolan and percussionist Steve Perrigan. On this date, the 26th of January, 1968. Another day, another fuck up. What are you going to do, right? 1974, Ringo Starr went to number one on the U.S. singles chart with his version of the Johnny Burnett 1960 hit You're 16, and number 3 hit in the UK. Okay. You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine. All right, Ringo Starr, 1974. Let's make note to self. Ringo Starr likes young girls. Okay, we're going to move on with that one. 1975, the BBC omnibus documentary Cracked Actor, a film about David Bowie, was shown on UK TV. Filmed in 1974 when Bowie was a cocaine addict, the documentary has become notorious for showing Bowie's fragile mental state during this period. Well, let's see. If you're a cocaine addict, if you have a fragile mental state during that period, what the fuck? Okay, I guess that kind of answers that question. So, do you have a fragile mental state when you're high on cocaine? Yes. Oh, man, some people. Speaking of some people, former Fleetwood Mac guitarist Peter Green was committed to a mental hospital following an incident when he threatened his accountant, Clifford Adams, with an air rifle when he was trying to deliver a $51,000 royalty check to him. Why would you be upset if someone's handing you a $50,000 royalty check? You definitely need to be committed to a mental hospital. It wasn't enough? You wanted it for someone else? Why exactly are you upset over a $50,000 check? That's what I want to know. And your accountant, no less. Your accountant's like, take the money, take the money. It's like a Philip Fry meme. Take my money. I don't get it. This seems completely on base. 1980, Prince made his TV debut on the U.S. show American Bandstand. When interviewed after his performance, the singer froze and struggled to reply to the questions he was being asked. That's spot on. Prince was definitely quite the not ready for prime time player when it came to his early career. Very much just, I'm sure, put on the spotlight, was like, poor Prince. 1986, Alan Collins, guitarist from Leonard Skinner, crashed his car, paralyzing him from the waist down and killing his girlfriend, Deborah Jean Watts. Collins had survived a plane crash in 1977 that killed 2 other bandmates. Now, we talked about this the other day. I said, this is like Final Fantasy. You know, it missed him in 1977. Was like, no, don't worry, man. We're going to get you. We got your number for you. It waited a decade, but it knocked him off with a car crash. He did live, but then his death was just listed the other day. He died of, I think, pneumonia from the car crash. Like, because, paralyzed from the waist down, he didn't have full function. Eventually took care of that. So, yeah. Yeah, Final Fantasy. Watch out for that one there, buddy. It's going to get you one way or another. It just is. In 1991, Queen had their second UK #1 with Innuendo, a 6-minute and 30-second long song that exceeded their epic Bohemian Rhapsody by 35 seconds and became the 3rd longest UK #1 song of all time, behind the Beatles' Hey Jude and Simple Minds' Belfast Child. Subsequently, though, and I know which one this is going to be because I talked about it yesterday, Oasis, All Around the World, at 9 minutes and 38 seconds, took the top slot, and it demoted Innuendo to 4th place. For Innuendo's flamenco guitar solo, Brian May was joined by Yes guitarist Steve Howe. Yes, because I think that was it was like 2002 or something, or whatever. That's when Oasis All Around the World was longer. 2003, Billy Joel was airlifted to a hospital after his car smashed into a tree. The singer lost control of his Mercedes S500 and skidded 100 yards before crashing. The accident happened in the Hamptons in New York. Now, I'm trying to think. If you're skidding 100 yards, that's 300 feet. Unless he was on ice, and it doesn't say that. I mean, it could be because it is January the 26th, 2003. He was going excessively fast to skid that far. Probably should have gotten a speeding ticket. Just saying. Maybe he did. They just didn't talk about that part. Johnny Lydon from the punkiest punk band ever, the Sex Pistols, was one of the 10 contestants to take part in the latest I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here UK TV show set in an Australian outback in 2004. The former Sex Pistols singer was seen by 11 million viewers on the first night covered in birdseed being pecked by giant ostriches. What the fuck? Lydon, who was paid $42,000 to appear on the show, but walked off the jungle set after 4 days. Yeah, because he was like, fuck this. He's like, you're wankers. I'm not having some John Bird peck at me. Who do you think this is? I could see that for sure. I could definitely see him not happy about that. In 2007, the Rolling Stones topped the U.S. Music Rich list for the second year running after making $150 million in 2006. Tim McGraw and Faith Hill were second in the poll with a combined fortune of $132 million, and American country band Rascal Flatts appeared third, having earned $110 million in the past year. Now, that's 2007, because, now we're talking like $1 billion, and you talk about Taylor Swift. $1 billion with a B. So, yeah, whatever, Rolling Stones. Go back to 2007. 2008, Alicia Keys was at #1 on the U.S. album chart with her third album, As I Am. The album sold over 750,000 copies in the first week. the largest ever first week sales for any female R&B artist ever. Ever. That's great. That's outstanding. Let's see. I know we're talking about this one just a little bit. In 2020, Billie Eilish swept the board at the 2020 Grammy Awards, winning 5 awards, including Best New Artist and Song of the Year, becoming the first person to achieve the feat since Christopher Cross in 1981. At the time, Eilish, at 18 years old, also won Album of the Year for her debut, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? She replaced Taylor Swift as the youngest person ever to win the award. Her elder brother, Phineas O'Connell, also picked up Producer of the Year for his work on Eilish's album. And we've met Billie Eilish, and she was very, very nice, actually. She was very, very smart, very talented young woman, incredibly so. So, very cool. But that was 2020, 6 years ago. If you think about that, it's kind of crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So, yeah, it's always interesting to see artists that come out super strong and see if they can continue that on their sophomore albums. And Billie Eilish has continued to have her success. Her sophomore album was very solid, and she's been doing very well still. So, it's nice to see that. So glad Billie Eilish is still doing her thing. All right, we've got a concert announcement. Just literally announced, we're getting a double dose of indie rock. Austin-based Spoon and New Zealand quartet The Beths are joining forces for a U.S. summer co-headline tour that includes gigs across the East Coast and the Midwest. I wonder if they're coming to Columbus, Ohio. Yes, they are. Today's announcement follows the news earlier this month that the Beths had booked a run on the U.S. headline dates in between a few festival appearances. The co-headlining dates follow a June 20th appearance for both bands at the Green River Festival in Greenfield, Massachusetts, which also includes performances by Charlie Crockett, Geese, Kurt Vile and the Violators, Big Frida, and more. If you've ever seen Big Frida, holy crap. So much fun. Such a fun artist. Really, really enjoyed seeing Big Frida play up in Cleveland at a show. And did see Spoon last summer. They played at the See Here Now Festival in Asbury Park, which I'm hoping to go back to this year. Anyway, the routing includes shows in Philly, Detroit, Baltimore, Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. The last stop is July 1st at Louisville, Kentucky's Iroquois Amphitheater. Pre-sale tickets will be available starting Tuesday, January 27th at 10 a.m. That's tomorrow. Followed by general on sale on Friday. A post on Spoon's Instagram page notes all tickets will be on sale Friday, January 30th at 10 a.m. local time. Today, we're also putting new live recordings up on our official YouTube channel. Check out the link for them in their bio. Meanwhile, they're still locked down in the studio currently recording new music that they said is on the way. The tunes Chateau Blues and Guess I'm Falling in Love were released last August and recorded live during Spoon's 2025 tour. The Beths also shared their tour poster, adding, "We're over the moon to be playing a run U.S. co-headlining shows with Spoon the Band. This June, see you there." Also, Square Flower will be opening up, so huge hello and a bang for the buck. So that's pretty good, okay? Pretty good show route. So it looks like it's going to be starting on June 20th in Massachusetts. Then they're going to be going to Connecticut in June. Then the Fillmore in Philly, Baltimore, Detroit, and then Cleveland June 27th. Columbus June 28th. Cincy June 30th. And then July 1st, Iroquois Amphitheater. So just a short little run, but hey, they'll be here in the Midwest a few times. So if you're a Spoon fan, Get your tickets starting tomorrow. And then, of course, on Friday. So that should be a good to go thing. Excited for that. Always a fan of Spoon. All right, let's see who was born and who died today. Not a lot of births, not a lot of deaths today. One of those weird things. Sometimes you get these like huge waves, and other days it's like skinny. Born on this day, Paul Newman. Newman's dressing and all sorts of that stuff. He was in so many movies. Paul Newman was. I mean, what? He was in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I don't know. He's in a ton of stuff. I can't even remember. Anyway. He's from Cleveland, Ohio, right? That's right. Paul Newman, Cleveland, Ohio. That's where he was born. Good for Paul Newman. He died in 2008. He would be 101 years old today. On this day also, Scott Glenn, actor Scott Glenn, 85 years old. Ellen DeGeneres, 68 years old. I can't believe Ellen's that old. I was a little surprised by that. I'm like, really? Ellen DeGeneres is that old? All right. Eddie Van Halen would have been 71 years old today. Eddie died in 2020, unfortunately. And Norman Hassan of UB40 ska fame, 68 years old today. 1954, Disneyland broke ground on their construction. They said they'd build it in a year. They did not. It took them a little bit longer than that. 1979, The Dukes of Hazzard premiered on network television. Cletus, Bo, and Luke Duke, the General Lee, with the Confederate flag on the roof of the car. That would not fly today, ladies and gentlemen. Just saying. I mean, the car would fly because it was always flying, but, the whole Confederate flag on the roof thing probably would get somebody unhappy. What else? 2003, Jimmy Kimmel started live on the air on ABC. So Jimmy Kimmel, wow, 2003? That's quite some time ago. I didn't realize it was that long that Jimmy's been doing this thing. And in 2022, Neil Young officially off of Spotify. All his songs removed from Spotify because of his protest taken seriously about Joe Rogan. He was so unhappy with Joe Rogan's comments on Spotify that he chose to have all of his songs removed. Said, I want them all taken down, and Spotify obliged and said, fine, you are now no longer on Spotify, Neil Young. Oh, Neil. Always trying to make waves. That's what he does. The only people that I found that died today were a few actors. Edward G. Robinson. Yes, sir. Bugs Bunny always used that character for Edward G. Robinson. He was also in the Ten Commandments. He was always a bad guy carrying a machine gun. Christian Brando, Marlon Brando's son. He died at the age of 49 in 2008. And Abe Vigoda, the man who was proclaimed dead many years before he actually was. Abe Vigoda from Barney Miller died in 2016 at the age of 94. So yes, so he died 10 years ago, but he died at the age of 94. So he did last a long time. That's what happened. So he was still there. He was still hanging in. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Did it get any warmer? Did it get any colder? Oh, it's still just freezing cold. Look at that shit. I mean, that's crazy. There it is. There's the temperature. 0 degrees. And look at what it's supposed to be in the week. Look at this. -1, -1, -2 at 2 a.m. -2 at 2 a.m. It's going to be colder than shit. So I don't plan on being outside at 2 a.m., just so you know. That's not happening. I have no design to be outside at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's way, way too cold. Jesus, people. I don't know what to tell you. It's winter, right? It's winter. 50 days till St. Patrick's Day, though. 50 days till St. Patrick's Day. And then we're going to have like a 60-degree St. Patrick's Day this year. I don't even know what day it's on. What day is St. Patrick's Day on this year? I know, it's on March 17th. I always get that. Hey, what day is St. Patrick's? What color was George Washington's white horse? Yeah, I know, George Washington's white horse. Ha ha, hilarious. Yes, I know it's on the 16th of March or 17th of March. But I meant what day of the week is it? That always determines what kind of like craziness is going to happen. It depends on the actual day of the week. So because as a bar owner and a venue owner, I always was looked at when you're going to have this happen, because the key to it is, see, it's a Wednesday. Wednesday's crappy for St. Patrick's Day because it's too far away from the weekend. So it's not a good day. Thursday's great because Thursday you can rock it out. You can have a good St. Patrick's Day on Thursday and you can extend it to the weekend. Friday, Saturday, recover on Sunday. Friday, same thing. You can have a Thursday pre-party. Friday is a boomer. Saturday is great. Sunday, recover. Saturday, St. Patrick's. Thursday, kick it off a little bit. Friday, you scream it up. Saturday, St. Patrick's Day, day off. Everyone's partying all day long. Sunday, you recoup. Sunday, not so great, but you can still do a Friday, Saturday weekend. St. Patrick's Day works out great. Monday, not so great. Tuesday, not so great. Wednesday, not so great. So no, not a great year for St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, this year, St. Patrick's Day not falling on a fabulous day, falling on a Tuesday. Tuesday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day this year. So not stupendous. So that because you don't, is it the party before the weekend or after the weekend? So that's typically going to be the weekend before St. Patrick's Day when it happens on a Tuesday, Wednesday. Definitely on a Monday, it has to be. So there you go. There's my take on St. Patrick's Day. So as a last name of Malloy, there might be some Irish that I've, encountered in the years. Just saying. Mabel, what's up? What's going on, Mabel? Where are you from, Mabel? What's going on? Is it colder Mabel is? It's colder where I am. So I want to know, anytime somebody comes, I want to know where they're coming from, if it's cold where Mabel's at. Is it colder Mabel is? That's my question. So yeah, it's episode 239 of Randsanity on 1/26/26. And we've had the snowpocalypse has come and gone. Now we're just going to deal with cold weather for the next few weeks. So it's going to be colder than shit, which is super exciting for me. I've got countertop people coming tomorrow. Going to have some measurements done. I don't have to do any work outside, so that's nice. So I'm not going to. I was super excited that all my pipes have not burst yet. So hopefully none of your pipes are bursting if you're in a cold place, because it is in fact cold as hell. Colder than hell freezing over. But that's such as life. So anyway, we're gonna move over to here. As I get ready to conclude this evening's festivities. So don't forget, I always tell you and I always forget to tell you. That's just me. See, when there's like a ton of people here, I should remind you to tell you. And when there's not, I'm like, okay. Don't forget to like, subscribe, watch, follow, and share. Now, I did get to finally post. It finally got approved. I posted the time lapse. So it's 24 hours and 30 seconds. So you can see the snowfall out the window. Now that I know that the GoPro works like that, I can do that again if we're ever going to have some epic sort of event that's going to take place. I know how to set it up and make it work properly now, so I can do that. So I will do that again. It's different than the time lapse, and from the time warp. The time warp makes it look really fast when you're going. The time lapse slows it down. So yeah, so you go look and there's a time lapse of the snowstorm coming in. So feel free to enjoy that and make happy comments. That way I'll respond to you. So appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for commenting. Cassie, if you're already here or you're gone, thank you so much. You sent me flowers. Aww. So kind. Appreciate you. So that's about it. Nothing otherwise too exciting. The thing is that it's just another day in paradise. Freezing in Columbus, Ohio. So appreciate you. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow when we'll do this all again at 11 p.m. And we'll talk about the news, the history, concert announcements, births, deaths, and all the things that populate music and questions, comments, and concerns. Until then, have a great rest of your evening. Stay warm. And remember Billy Joel says it, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. Let's fade to black.